So I've previously covered the smart Ericsson dongle and demonstrated its functions on this channel, and I've mentioned the Total Tool that was competing with it at the time. I'll build this thing here, and a little bit of background. This tool wasn't a competitor to say to the smart Ericsson one. It was a direct clone of it, and digging through forums I noticed that people were blaming Zulia for it. If that name sounds familiar, it's he made the div tool for Sony Ericsson in the early 2000s, and that was a competitor to the smart Ericsson tool, and people speculated that he cloned the smart Ericsson tool and released the clone as Ericsson Total Tool. Now that was well and good because it worked with version 1.6 of its program. It had a program called Total Tool, but it was basically a direct ripoff of the smart Ericsson tool, just with a different user interface. All the functions and supported models and even the error codes are just direct copies of the smart Ericsson tool. So he rebranded the smart Ericsson tool as Total Tool and sold clones like these. The problem was he later released 1.9 version, and problems started to arise because people reported phones dying or having 4 locks closed, and at the same time Zulia was advertising his div dongle as being able to repair issues made by Total Tool. So he was secretly creating the problems and then advertising a fix with his own tool. Now this is just speculation, there's no proof of it. People were pretty convinced of this on the forums. So I do not recommend using version 1.9 of this for anything but reading codes, and people say even that can break your device because it can change the boot of the PIC inside and break the Total Tool. So if you're gonna build this, just try to use version 1.6. Okay, so this gave me a lot of headaches to make. It took me about an hour to build the PCB Gerber files to print out this board, and then about an hour to assemble it when it arrived, and then it took me 3 days of debugging because this was recognized by the computer, but and the phone was sort of recognized, but it could not connect to the phone properly. So it took me forever to do it, because on all the tools that I used with Ericsson and Sony Ericsson, to get the phone into test mode is very simple. Like this is a T200 model that we're gonna work with today. It's very simple. You just have to make a bridge between pin 9 and 11 and give voltage to it. Sometimes it just takes voltage from pin 11, and pin 9 is the flash mode one. So if it detects voltage, it will go into flash mode. So I usually just short this. It will take voltage from 11 to 9. Phone is in flash mode. Or you can put 5 volts from the box or externally to this bridge to ensure that the phone goes into flash mode. And that's what I've done here, right? Because all the other tools that I worked with were doing that. On the schematics of this, there were 3 diodes. I will put the schematics here. So there were 3 diodes coming from the printer port from the computer, and those were feeding voltage through diodes and then to basically this bridge here to enable flash mode. But in the schematics that I found, those diodes were there, but the output wasn't going anywhere. I figured it was to induce flash mode, but I said some laptops give lower voltages than old computers, so I'm not going to rely on that. I'm just going to give it 5 volts because I put this port here. This is not for data, this is purely for 5 volts to take from the computer USB port. So I said I'm just gonna take 5 volts from there through a protective diode and just put it pin 1 to induce flash mode. All well and good, and the device was recognized by the computer, serial number and everything, but it would not connect to this. I spent 3 days on this thing, and then eventually I disconnected that after debugging the PIC. I was going crazy with this one. I just left the 3 diodes on pin 1 and it worked. Okay, so I wasted a lot of time doing that. Regarding the cables, on the original design, it had male cable, DB25, so a printer cable would go in here, the female one from the computer, and then a male one would go in here that had USB to take power from the computer, and the other wires to go to the phone. But I didn't want to do that. I already had the cable from my SE tool, so I configured the port to match the wiring of the SE tool. The only difference is the SE tool doesn't use pin 3 for auto ignition. Oh, I mean pin 3 on the phone here, but the SE tool doesn't use pin 8 of the RJ45 port, so I just used that channel to connect to pin 3 of the phone connector, and that will auto ignite the phone. So when you start the program, you don't have to press any buttons, it's just gonna wake the phone up. So let's demonstrate this. We've got here, oh, let's plug it in. So you plug this into the parallel port like so. The documentation says you need a EPP or ECP parallel port. You don't. The laptop that I'm using now, it only has bidirectional and it works just fine. It's not absolutely necessary. So plug that into a computer. It natively works on Windows 98, but you can make it work on XP as well. But you do have to provide a printer port access, because by default in XP you don't have direct access to the printer port. So you need like port IO or some custom driver to give it access to the parallel port, which I have done. But for simplicity's sakes, use it in 98. So plug that in. See the LED power there. So we got the T200 here. It is currently locked. Says insert correct SIM card. So if we do left star left, it shows you what locks are active. So network 1 is unlocked, network subset is locked. So we're gonna read the codes in a minute. Let's turn that off. Take the cable. The correct way to connect this to the computer is plug in the parallel cable first, then the USB power cable, then you take the battery out of your phone, connect the cable to the phone, then plug the battery in like this. Okay, now let's look at the program. Okay, so there were three main programs branded Total Tool, which, as I said, they were just direct clones of the smart Ericsson tools. It was 1.55, 1.60, and 1.90 was the last one. I've got here 1.60, 1.90, and an original smart Ericsson tool program. This clone was basically compatible with all the smart Ericsson programs up to version 1.98. So you didn't really need the cloned programs. You could have used just the original smart Ericsson tool up to this version. After this version, the developer of the smart Ericsson tool made the serial number, because all of these had the same serial number because it was a clone, right? So he made that serial number be banned in versions after this one here. So you cannot use smart Ericsson. I've got here version 205 or version Pro. These do not work. So if you try to start those, it says smart Ericsson box not connected. It will detect it, but it will see the banned serial number and just refuse to work. So we will use the working programs. Here is the cloned one, 160. You can see the serial number here. This is the banned serial number, and these are the supported models. Not a lot. By any capacity, this is totally obsolete now. You can use SEMC tool, which has a lot more models and is more stable than this. So I only recommend this as a fun project to experiment with. I do not recommend using this as a serious tool to work with. So let's select T200 model. You can clear codes. Again, I do not recommend doing this. It can break your phone. Just read the codes and it'll be okay. So click on this. It's trying to enter test mode. You don't have to press anything on the phone. It automatically connects to it. Alright, now it's connected to the phone and the codes are read. These are the codes here. So let's try the other versions of this. Here is the 190. Remove the battery, put it back because the phone was still in a flash mode. So reconnect the battery. There's a couple more models here. You got the T600 here and T610. People reported major bugs, especially with these two in version 190. It was killing these two models in mass, so I don't recommend using this at all. But for reading codes, let's do the T200 again. Alright, this one connected a lot faster. Same codes, works the same way. We will need N6 NSCK code to unlock it. So it's this one here. Let me show you the official smart Ericsson tool. Let's disconnect and reconnect the battery. So this is version 198. You can see a serial number here, and select the T200 model, go to locks and read codes, and here's the codes, same as the other ones, works the same way. So let's unlock this phone now. Okay, so remove the cable, reconnect the battery, and start the phone. Do left, star, left, network subset, and NSCK code. That's 207301117. Yes. Unlocked. Now the phone is unlocked. It's done. So for reading the codes, as I demonstrated here, it works fine. If you absolutely don't have anything else to work with, you can make this. But as I said, I do not recommend using this for serious phone unlocking. This was just a fun project for me. I say fun. Just build this one, just cross it off my list. I'm very stubborn when it comes to this thing, so even though I didn't need this at all when I wasn't planning to use it, I wanted to make it so I can cross it off my list and just move on with my life. I will put in the description the schematics, hex file, and the programs for this tool. So if you want to build it yourself, just read the description below for the files. Thank you for watching.